I just think it's funny that the top G is a fanboy, and he runs with this whole thing like, "What color is your Bugatti?"
Endless videos supporting me, laughing about me, saying how funny I was. I'll fight him for free.
I just think it's funny that the top G is a fanboy and he runs with this whole thing like, "What color is your Bugatti?" Jake Paul responds to Andrew Tate calling him out, and of course it's exactly what you'd expect, another ego-fueled monologue from the self-crowned king of trash talk. This is classic Jake, loud, overconfident and utterly detached from reality. The guy who cherry-picks opponents like he's shopping for discount victories is now acting like he can take down Andrew Tate, a four-time kickboxing world champion with an actual fight record, did endless videos supporting me, laughing about me, saying how funny I was. I'll fight him for free. Let's not forget Jake's glorious track record of overhyped fights, most of which ended in mediocrity or outright embarrassment. And oh, who could overlook that cringeworthy scripted face-off with Mike Tyson that somehow still made headlines? Jake Paul, a man more consistent in dodging real challenges than landing punches, is stepping up to Tate, not with skill but with his usual brand of loudmouth bravado. It's trash talk versus talent, and Jake's in way over his head. Sure, he's ready to back up. I don't think he ever gets into the ring and risks his alpha male appearance to fight me or Logan. Andrew Tate, you're scared to get in the ring with one of us. Jake Paul, just hearing the name sends a shiver down the spine of anyone who values integrity in sports, or let's be honest, just values sanity. This self-proclaimed problem child has managed to convince a significant portion of the internet that his glorified TikTok-level boxing career somehow makes him a legitimate athlete, and now he's crossed paths with Andrew Tate, the internet's walking cocktail of cigars, Bugattis and outdated alpha male sermons. It's the collision of two egos so inflated they probably need their own zip codes. Let's dissect this mess, shall we? But what I'm saying is that Andrew, if my brother doesn't you up, I will, and it has to go down. So Andrew Tate, the guy with 4 legitimate kickboxing world titles, decides to call out Jake Paul for a fight, and why wouldn't he? Jake's entire boxing career is like a bad reality TV show where retired MMA fighters and washed-up athletes get trotted out to lose to him for a paycheck. But here's the twist: Tate's got actual combat credentials. We're talking 76 wins, not whatever dollar store victory lap Jake is running, and Tate didn't just call him out, he went for the jugular, questioning Jake's courage and mocking his thinly veiled attempts at relevance, coming from a guy who built his empire preaching the gospel of Bugattis and Hustler University. That's saying something. Jake's response predictable: he runs to his podcast like a middle schooler running to Twitter after losing a dodgeball game on BS with Jake Paul, which, let's face it, is the most accurate title he's ever come up with. He spends an episode posturing and puffing his chest. Andrew Tate, you're scared to get into the ring with one of us, Jake declares, dripping with irony. Jake calling anyone scared is comedy gold. This is the same guy who spent more time dodging Tommy Fury than actually training for a real fight. He's the human embodiment of the pot calling the kettle black, except the pot is also trying to sell you overpriced merch while yelling into a mic. But what I'm saying is that Andrew, if my brother doesn't you up, I will, and it has to go down. And then there's Jake's theory about why Tate won't fight him. According to Jake, Tate is worried about damaging his alpha male appearance. Really, that's rich coming from a guy whose entire shtick is predicated on hand-picking opponents who either have no business boxing or are way past their prime. Jake's version of bravery is throwing punches at guys who should be enjoying their retirement, not pretending to be the future of boxing. But let's give Jake half a point for attempting to sound like a reasonable adult for once. In between the congratulations and macho posturing, he managed to agree with the idea that Andrew Tate shouldn't be banned from social media. Free speech, he says, is important, a noble sentiment until you remember this is coming from a guy who weaponizes his platform to hurl insults at anyone who dares question his self-perceived greatness. Jake talking about free speech is like a used car salesman preaching honesty, hard to take seriously when their whole persona is built on manipulation. If you want to fight and you want to send a contract, send one to me. I will take a few weeks break from living my retired life to kick the living out of a goofy entitled like you. And while Jake's busy running his mouth, let's not forget the circus he's already juggling. There's KSI, who Jake has been feuding with since the dawn of time but somehow still hasn't fought, and Tommy Fury, whose fight with Jake has been cancelled so many times it's starting to feel like a poorly scripted drama. Visa issues, scheduling conflicts, and Jake's uncanny ability to turn every situation into a melodrama. Pick your excuse at this point. Jake dodging real opponents is less of a rumor and more of a recurring theme, he said. Speaking of Brits, I had a call with Tommy Fury. They're saying we're going to fight in February. Jake told his co-host, I think he actually can't leave. He can't come into the United States, so if I fight him it's in the UK. Jake's co-host pointed out that Tommy had withdrawn from the previous appearances at the last minute and wondered if he would do so again. I think the parts of it are shady. I don't think we're getting the full truth and everything, but regardless, it's a great matchup and I really want to knock him out now. Andrew Tate steps into the picture, offering Jake a golden opportunity to prove he can actually hang with someone who knows what they're doing in a fight. And what does Jake do? He postures, he talks big, but will he actually step into the ring? Let's be real, probably not. Jake's entire career is built on theatrics, not challenges. He doesn't want to fight Tate, he wants to milk the drama for clicks, views, and a fresh wave of gullible fans who think his trash talk equals music talent. Jake Paul wanting to fight Saul Canelo Alvarez is like a toddler challenging Usain to a sprint. It's embarrassing, delusional, and undeniably hilarious. This is the same Jake Paul who defeated Anderson Silva in October 2022, and let's not forget Silva was 47 years old at the time, an MMA legend sure, but hardly in his boxing prime. But does that stop Jake? Of course not. In his mind, this one victory has magically transformed him into a legitimate contender worthy of stepping into the ring with one of the greatest pound-for-pound boxers in history. Jake doesn't just want to prove himself, he wants to rewrite reality, ignoring the fact that his so-called knockout record is about as credible as a staged prank video. And as if that wasn't enough, Jake's mouth has gotten him into even more trouble. This time it's Eddie Hearn, the boxing promoter heavyweight, who's had enough of Jake's nonsense. Jake accused Matchroom Boxing, Hearn's baby, of paying off judges for FA-able scorecards. Yep, because apparently Jake thinks he's the whistleblower. Boxing never asked for the result, a $100 million lawsuit. That's right, Jake's loose lips might cost him more than all his social media clout combined. But does Jake backtrack or stay quiet? Of course not. He promises to debunk the lawsuit allegations in episode 8 of his podcast, because clearly the guy who built his career on viral pranks and staged drama is totally the right person to unravel corruption in professional boxing. Sure, Jake will just wait for that groundbreaking expose. But wait, there's more drama. Jake's feud with Tommy Fury has been dragging on for what feels like decades. These two were supposed to fight at the end of 2021, then again in 2022, but somehow Tommy always had a magical excuse ready: visa issues, injuries, or maybe just a gut feeling that losing to Jake would be career suicide. Meanwhile, Jake used every opportunity to trash Tommy on social media, calling him out as a coward and declaring he's ready to fight him in the UK in 2023. But let's not forget Jake's stellar track record of following through on fights. If this match happens, big if, it'll probably be another overhyped spectacle that leaves fans wondering why they bothered tuning in. And then there's the wild card, Andrew Tate. A Paul versus Andrew Tate fight is the kind of chaotic matchup that could actually be interesting. Tate, with his 76 professional kickboxing wins, would walk into the ring with real combat experience, unlike Jake's reality show's opponents. Tate is polarizing sure, but at least he knows how to fight. Jake, on the other hand, is the poster boy for delusions of grandeur. Watching him step into the ring with Tate would be like watching a YouTube prank challenge a Navy SEAL to a push-up contest, painful but impossible to look away from.